I saw a funny tweet this morning. It said, there's someone saying, first tech job, I want to change the world. Third tech job, I want to help some people. Fifth tech job, I just want to make enough money so that I can put my kids in one of those schools that completely restricts technology. um, it's like, yeah, that's sort of funny. Yeah, so like here I am. I work in technology, and I got my background was in like Silicon Valley startups. I started 3 of them before working on Urbit, and yeah, I by the end of that stretch had that kind of relationship where I'm like, man, this stuff is kind of bad. So honestly, I'm very nervous about this. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about technology. Like we've already started being confronted with this moral conundrum about how like we are on our phones all the time. We're emailing. You know, our baby will fall asleep on us, and we're like, okay, well, what do I do? I mean, get some work done, and you know, respond to my mother, and you know, send some emails, and then at times she wakes up and she sees us there with our phone, and you know, with my phone in my hand, or my wife with her phone in her hand, and sometimes that's for work, sometimes it's for pleasure, but we're very much conditioned to be on our phones all the time and on our computers all the time. And my 6-month-old daughter is just like, the moment she sees the phone, she's just straight for it more so than anything else. You can go and take that and, you know, set it further away, and she will just make a beeline crawl for it, which is kind of how we trained her to, once she started learning to crawl, we were like, oh, how do we get her to crawl somewhere? Just put a phone over there and she'll go to it. And then in the back of our minds, we're thinking, oh man, this is crazy. She's like, she can't even talk. She doesn't even know what this thing is. And she's already like obsessed with a phone, and she's 6 months old. It's like, man, that sucks. What am I going to do about that? Because, you know, thankfully, I didn't get obsessed with phones until I was an adult. You know, I had a BlackBerry in college. That was the new hotness at the time. And I think the iPhone had come out like a year earlier. And there was no social media to speak of, was, you know, in its current incarnation, at least. So I was at least fully developed by the time this stuff came, and I still struggle with it. And, you know, imagining growing up immersed in constant distraction, and, you know, I think that's really kind of it's like an inability to focus on anything. You're constantly being distracted by conversations that you don't want at a certain time from people that you may not even know. Yeah, it scares me. I don't exactly know what we're going to do. We will, you know, we tell each other like, okay, this child is not getting an iPad. She's not getting a phone until she's, you know, a teenager. It's easy to say. Well, you know, while she's 6 months old, and it's just talk, and she isn't able to push back at us and, you know, guilt trip us about how her friends have them. I like to think that we are going to be fairly strict about it, at least as a result of being very informed, because at least now we flag it as a problem and we're thinking about it a lot, and it's going to be hard, I think, to do this. But you know, heck, it's parenting. It's not like you go in thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. So this is one of our generation's particular hardships. You know, I do hope that Urbit is a thing that I can, you know, like a healthy form of social networking that I can have my kid use, where it's like, you know, here's a place where all the people on this network I know are good actors, right? Because they have, you know, an actual visceral consequence to being bad actors, which is that it tanks their reputation. And, you know, that's not a thing anybody likes. We're all very attuned to our reputation and our standing amongst other people. Like Urbit has no incentive because there is no organization behind Urbit, really. It's just a technology to distract you. The attention economy doesn't make sense on Urbit because, you know, the attention economy comes from the idea that, well, I need you looking at this stuff so that I can advertise to you.
Right.
And so that I can mine you for information so that I can serve better and better ads to the entire world, which is how I, you know, make my profits.
Mm-hmm.
That model doesn't make sense on Urbit because there's no way for anyone to mine anybody else's information except for, you know, if you're talking directly to them. There is no service in the middle that aggregates everything from everybody because everyone owns the individual information. So there is no big data, only small data. Everyone's responsible for their own stuff and the communications with the people they know. So, you know, there's just no model in which an Urbit ship is sending me notifications in order to pull me into a thing, in order to make me do more and interact more and, you know, look at ads. So, like, that's, like, I do want, you know, like, I believe in computers. I believe in this idea that, you know, I can talk to people all over the world. Yeah. That's really powerful. My network right now is comprised of people that are in like every damn continent. I have a really good friend in Kenya that I talk to, you know, every month to catch up with because I work with him because remote work is possible. At least I used to work with him. Now we just stay in touch. You know, and my team, the team at the Urbit Foundation, which, you know, is where I work, we don't have 2 people in the same state, and we're in, you know, like 5 different countries. And it's, you know, these are great people that I love talking to, and I absolutely do want my children to have the ability to form meaningful relationships that transcend geographic boundaries. That's a really positive aspect of technology. But I want them to do it on their own terms and with, you know, what the term I'll keep using is good actors, you know, people that are, you know, actually freely engaging with one another as autonomous beings, you know, not as optimizations in somebody's algorithm.